All right, joining us right now from the futures pits, Ira Harris of Praxis Trading. And Ira, we're looking for this jobs report that comes out later today. Expectations are relatively low. Is the expectation that if it beats those numbers, you would see a pop in the stock market?
Well, I think, Becky, I think that it would have to be the original before, when you take out the effects of Sandy, what I've seen, they were looking for 145 to 150. If you happen to get that, I think the equity markets would view that as a positive. In this light, we also get the Canadian number at the same time, 8:30 Eastern time. And they used to be earlier, but that becomes significant because so much automobile manufacturing, takes place in Ontario. And with the robust numbers that we've seen out of the auto sector, that we saw earlier this week, it'll be interesting to see if manufacturing jobs in Canada, show themselves. So I'm actually looking up there as a better indication because by the time we talk out Sandy from this number, it'll be meaningless anyway. So I'm going to look at the manufacturing sector out of Canada as probably a better indication of what the U.S. Job numbers ought to be.
How long is Sandy going to mess up the numbers? I mean, Ira, I'll ask you, and Steve, I'll ask you, too. We had somebody ask that the other day. Is this a year that we have to worry about, numbers going back?
2 to 3 months is what I read. Michelle?
Yeah, I think that's probably right. I mean, if you look at Katrina, so Katrina hit the end of August 2005. September and October were artificially low. Then you got a pop higher in that third month, and then you return to some sort of normal trend. So if it follows a similar path, it'll be about 3 months because you get some payback.
I'm no longer confused about the dividend thing. I just want to like that. I'm over that. I'm over that. But I am confused about something else.
But couldn't the Sandy
affect the dividends?
No, couldn't the Sandy weakness then be followed by fiscal cliff worry weakness?
Right.
Yeah.
Even if we don't go over the cliff, people.
But there's another thing.
I mean, we could go above 8 and all of a sudden be above 8 again, couldn't we?
We could, and I'm expecting over 8 today, or around 8 or more. And just to explain, there's a couple things going on. It's an earlier Thanksgiving. So as I understand it, the BLS moved the survey week backwards to 11/5 from 11/12. So the week including the 5th instead of the week including the 12th. That moves it further back into the teeth of Sandy's effects on the jobs market. All the people who were out of work that week couldn't necessarily find work if they were looking for it, okay? However, the earlier Thanksgiving also means retailers hire earlier. So you have these two forces, and Sandy sat in Brusca's seat, was it Wednesday, and he said there's two things. Plus 86 from Sandy, minus 60 or 70 because you have a seasonal effect of earlier retailers. Actually, it's minus 86.
Those are the claims?
Yeah,
minus 60 no. On the jobs number. On the jobs number. So these, could they offset, Bob? Is that where you are? Earlier hiring for retail means a positive. Less hiring because of Sandy is a negative. Could they offset? Is that your expectation?
Well, there's going to be some netting. There are all these special effects in these reports that you're trying to sort out. And there's also the question of what the economy is really doing. And I think one of the other problems is that, data have been revised up and people have been increasingly, I think, thinking the economy is doing better. But it seems to me the actual, because of revisions, it's like expectations have been moving up. But the data themselves seem to me to have been getting weaker. So I'm concerned that the economy actually is weakening coming into this period. It's not just
ISM services was better than expected. Manufacturing was down, but that could have been all Sandy.
But the employment component was worse. The employment component in the ISM for services, for non-manufacturing, is worse than this only 36% of the time.
Okay, but production was up and new orders looked good and a whole bunch of other stuff.
Very surprising, very strong report, especially because in GDP for the third quarter, you had consumer spending on services up at only, 0.3% at an annual rate. Right. And so what the heck is going on in the services sector? People aren't buying anything.
Right.
And of course, I'm talking about a quarterly number against a monthly number, but still, that's quite a shift.
ADP showed a lot of hiring sort of negative on manufacturing, but I think it was plus 141 or something like that when it came to services.
Okay, yeah.
Ira, I understand why you are turning your eyes north and looking to numbers from somebody else. Thank you for joining us this morning, and have a great weekend, okay?